Hello, my name is Ben Dai, and I'm the project director for story and franchise development. And this is the director commentary for Rise and Shine.
Rations. So,
We started this project roughly about a year ago. This first scene right here is probably one of the hardest animated scene ever because it's such a long shot. It's over almost 45 seconds of animation. So we actually, after the storyboard process, our producer asked us to cut this into 3 little sections. So you'll see these little video glitches that we actually put in because we had to break the shot down to 3 different shots so the 3 different animators could work on this at the same time. Or else pretty much one animator will be working on this shot for the entire duration of the production. This sequence right here in the beginning actually is inspired by films like Aliens, where we see empty. Basically, we try to convey the fact that it's a really empty space. There's not a lot of people. No one's around. This whole animated short film is inspired by Winston's initial message to kind of like the call to action. Over here we have Mei in her pajama outfit, and her hair is disheveled. I really want to get this feeling like she's really comfortable. I want the audience to see the side of Mei that we've never been able to see in the game. The casual Mei, I guess. Snowball is always one of my favorite characters alongside with Mei. I felt like he has a lot of character. I really love the way he's designed, and I really want to feature him in the film. We use a lot of props in this film. The cups, for example, are some of the stuff that we've been doing with product placement in our franchise story and franchise development. We do a lot of cups and products. We'll try to feature some of those in the film.
where is all this data coming from? Snowball, how long have
So there's a little bit of backstory. There's a huge debate on how many years Mei's been sleeping. There's at first it was 10, and then it was 8, and then we end up in the settle with a number 9. We did a lot of art for the 2D art for these posters that shows up. It's all done by our artists, concept artists. In a shot like this, when we're actually dealing with death and something that's pretty dark, we try not to show the actual scientists who passed away in the cryotube, but let the audience get a feel of how lonely she is without showing actual death and gruesome scenes. We had a huge not argument, but in the production meeting, we talked about getting caustics on the wall because we had the reflection of the cryo tank, and it just become this huge effort try to make that shot work. But at the end, we end up taking all of the caustic out because it just made the shot look very, very busy.
the dish is broken?
In these outdoor shots, Mei's in this Antarctica outfit, and then she had these fur lining on her coat. And then there's in the very first iteration of the production, we don't have any movement on the fur. So when we saw a shot like this, when the fur is completely still and the hair is blowing in the wind, it just looked really weird. So our CG suit Shimon really took it upon himself and talking to the production team, talking to the rigging team, and come up with a system of moving fur. It's all procedural. We have three settings. We have no movement, very little movement, and heavy movement, and then we put them in, and then they actually look really great. You can tell they're procedural. It looks like all simulation, but we actually didn't do any simulation at all. All of her hairs are hand animated, along with all the dangling pieces. So there's a lot of actual work went into animating Mei, even though she looked pretty simple.
Maybe someone someone knows we're here.
So we actually, on this shot, we actually try so many times try to get the circle look right, because every time we do it, it looked very fake. Like it doesn't look like a finger was drawn. It looks very drawn in, I guess. So it took a while for us to get it right. For this sequence, the building of her snow gun, it's probably one of the most complicated shot ever in this whole production. We did a lot of different experiment, like should we put the different lighting in there? Should we take it out? Should we keep it in one lighting setting? But at the end, we had this whole cycle of day and night, which really tell the story of, she's been spending a lot of time in this room building her gun.
Oh no. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Ugh.
So one other thing about that sequence that we saw earlier was the tank and all the water. We have this effect artist, Andrew Melanchek, who you every time he does effects, it's 10 times bigger than what you think. So when I first saw the sequence where all the liquids are turning, it's like a tornado inside. It was so cool. I feel so bad that I have to tell the artist, can we tone down the liquid effect so it's actually a little bit more subtle. But it turned out to be really cool. One difficulty about lighting these shots are they're so dark. We want to create this moment where everything shuts off in the room. The battery is gone, but we can't really shoot a film in pure darkness. So we have to find small little lighting spots that make sense, and to light her just enough that we can see her, but keeping in this dark, sort of desolate feel. As far as music goes, I think we use a lot of already existing music from the Overwatch soundtrack, special edition soundtrack. So while we're doing the stories and making the storyboard edits, we already figured out what this part of the music is going to be using our Overwatch theme music from the beginning. So when the composer Sam Cardin came in, brought on board, he incorporated all of these music into his final soundtrack. We spent a lot of time researching and figuring out how to create the ice wall, the texture, the way it looks. We want to stay very consistent with the game, but also have our take on the short film. I think the result was really cool. The way it looks, it really looks like ice. And it's really difficult to create ice that look real, because a lot of times it start looking like plastic or waxy.
Better off without us. They even called us criminals. They tore our family.
As you can see here on the fur, as I talked earlier about, all the fur are on. It's all procedural generated movements, but from shot like this, we're far away. You just get barely enough movement to make it so it looks right on the screen.
Are you with me?
I think the animators did a wonderful job making sure that Mei looks cute, and also on model, because we have animators from the dev team to come over who are constantly telling us how to animate Mei so that the game animation and the movie animation stay consistent. Effects right here, when the sled goes away from the exit the screen, you see those little trail. That's actually something we added at the very last minute, because when we were watching in dailies, it wasn't never called out as the effects, and we didn't do it. But our CG supervisor, Shimon, again, he's like, hey, you know what, we gotta put that in, because without it, it just looks weird, because the sled just went through the snow without leaving any marks.
Rise and shine, Snow.
So that's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoy watching this short film. Everyone at Story and Franchise Development had a really good time making this short, and hopefully we'll do it again soon.